This will be fun. I like to talk about tennis, obviously.
So like, you can talk about tennis?
I have a failed podcast, clearly.
So we can talk about tennis and talk about anything, whatever you want. Basic questions. So grow up, where'd you go? How did you end up starting tennis? Let's start with that.
So I started tennis when I was like 8 years old. I actually came from a basketball family. My dad played college basketball. My brother played college basketball. But my mom grew up in a tennis family. They had a dog named Topspin. So,
oh, that's so cute.
So my mom was actually the one that got me into tennis. I think she was just like, hey, I'm going to sign you up just to see if you like it.
Yeah.
And then my brother and I were really competitive with each other. And so basketball was clearly his sport. And he obviously played college. Oh, he's younger, actually. And then tennis kind of became my thing because I was like, it's like you want to have your thing that you're better at than your brother. So, and then it kind of just grew from there. Just used to do it in the summers. And then as you started singling down to one sport, then it just got down to tennis when I was pretty much 12 years old. And then got into USTA tournaments, which was probably the biggest, scariest step in I think anyone's tennis career when you're a junior, because you're like, all right, this is a tournament now. This is like a scary setting. Can I handle it? And then just being competitive and wanting to do well, just kept going with it. And then
do you remember your first tennis experience?
Tennis tournament experience? Yeah, actually, I remember the guy that I played. We're still friends today.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
Very nice. Okay.
I think in hindsight, I did better than you would expect. So
Nice.
I'm always afraid that you send a kid into a tournament and they're going to lose like 6-0, they're just going to hate it. But it was a good experience. So, my dad and I drove like an hour, but it was drove an hour to go lose the first match. But it's a good experience. So.
I remember mine. It was one of my coaches was like, oh, you should do this, and I didn't know what it was. And then I had a ref and everything, which is kind of weird. It was good.
No one was cheating the line calls and stuff.
No, but I had no clue what I was doing.
Was it calm at least? You think it was more pressure because the ref was standing?
There was no one else. It was just me and this other person, and I just remember the ref being really mean. I had no clue it was a tournament, and I remember Monica was like, oh yeah, you should sign up for this. And I'm like, okay. And that was my first tennis experience. But
I joke junior tennis tournaments is where like dreams go to die, but you have to do it. But it's tough when it's like if there is no ref, someone's like always cheating line calls, and then there's like parents, and then it's like But you have to be comfortable with tournaments to get better.
So you grew up in the Bay Area, right?
Yep, I grew up in Northern California. Grew up in the East Bay portion, so it's funny. That's actually not where most of the tennis players are. Most of the tennis players are like in San Francisco or in the San Jose South Bay area, so I had to drive a little bit to get practice. But I grew up there. Always wanted to be in Southern California, so my goal was always like play college in Southern California. So ended up going to Cal Poly Pomona for 1 year. Here's where I met Paul. And then they cut the program after a year, so then I transferred to UC Riverside, and that's where I finished my school and graduated from. So it's been a SoCal ever since.
How long ago was that?
How long ago was that? 2025, I'm 34 now. I graduated 2013 from Riverside. So I've been in SoCal for, what is that, 16 years?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I've been in LA for 10. So
It's like us. Very nice. Very interesting.
SoCal's, I think growing up I was like, this is like Mecca of tennis.
Oh yeah, it is.
So I always wanted to get here because I was like, I want to play the best people. I feel like it's still true today. There's always people playing. The league teams are better down here than up there. The availability of players, access to courts, it's everywhere.
We have weather for
the best weather too.
It rains like 4 days a year, right? So it's great. This is where to be.
Yeah.
What is phone time? Keep on eating. What is it that you like about tennis that's kept you in it this whole time?
There's 3 things. The first would be, obviously, like, it sounds cliche, but I appreciate it now, is like, you can play your whole life. I know my brother, a good example, played basketball, doesn't play anymore. There's a lot of sports you just can't play anymore after college. The second thing would be how social it is. So I think it's really easy just to go sign up for a league team or go to a club, just play doubles, talk to people, stay engaged. And then the third thing is I feel like you can always keep getting better in some way, whether maybe physically declining, but like mentally getting better, or just changing your game in a certain way. So there's always like progression to it. So those are the 3 things that are keep me going. So, what about you?
Me?
Yeah. Same 3 answers, really?
Pretty much, especially the first one. I started out with gymnastics, and that has a very short career span. So most gymnasts will stop at like 18, just because you grow bigger, right?
It probably translated well for you, right? Because it probably translated well for you. Right? Balance and core, just like...
It was a good transition point.
A single leg string.
It was overall, but it was really weird having a racket in my hand, something external, right? So it was a really different sport. But what weirded me out was like your career would most likely end at 18. There are gymnasts that are like 26, but they end up with arthritis because of the tumbling and pounding of all that stress on your joints and everything.
Right.
And then
Tennis is like that too, though.
think
They keep saying it's like your knees are gonna give out one day. I haven't felt it yet, but
take it as hard as as much as you want, right? As hard as you want to. But gymnastics can't avoid at a certain level you get to. It's just really hard to just continue with it. So I think you can play, even if your knees give out, you can play wheelchair tennis.
it's true.
Right? So I volunteered for a program. I thought it was the best thing ever. So they had a wheelchair tennis program at the USTA. They call it the Billie Jean King Tennis Center now, the US Open, right? So that's where I grew up playing tennis.
Oh, sweet.
So I volunteered for the wheelchair tennis, the weekend program. I helped them out, and they had phenomenal serves. It's 100 miles an hour in a chair. That's unbelievable, right? And then they had the World Championship tennis tournament for the wheelchair people, and there were some pro that were in the circuit that transitioned into that sector because they got into a car accident or something else happened. But it was nice to see that they can still play to some degree. They're like phenomenal athletes. I think it's harder than it is. You had two bounces, but it's really hard to get to.
The anticipation is like above what a tennis player like is.
I was just really
to cover
impressed.
the court. It's very. I actually like how the majors are giving it more attention. Like going to the Australian Open highlight video and I see the wheelchair.
You should. It's so much fun. They're like the nicest people too. But I like the longevity of the sport. You can play till 120 if you live that long, right? And then chair. But those are my main answers too. But who's your favorite player?
I get this question a lot.
It's a very generic question. I have to ask it because all time.
It's gone through phases. So growing up, I was a huge Andy Roddick fan.
Me too.
So I have the rubber band on my wrist, doing a little shake your hand before you serve. I wear the trucker hats now. I like pick up the shirt, do all
he does
this.
that a lot. It's his ritual.
As I got older, my game wasn't his game because he used two-hand backhand. I'm going to be tall, so I was like, all right, I better start playing more like all-court games. I eventually started switching to a one-hand backhand. So then I started being a fan of like Pete Sampras, but he had retired, so then it was kind of like, I can't watch this person live. So then it was like, I just watch old highlight videos, right?
Any of those.
Yeah. Then that's when I started watching Federer because he was on tour. Yeah. He was playing that similar style game. So he basically became my favorite player. Yep. So
Federer's just beautiful on court.
But he's not American, so then you're like, I say those 3 are my influences. Yeah. Then I always like Tsonga. He's one of my favorites too. But yeah. What about you?
Very good choices. Roddick. I actually ball boyed his junior US Open finals match.
Really?
It was kind of weird because it was a big deal. He won that year. I think it was with.
But US Open always takes older. It's not like kids. It's like actual high school and adults for like ball. Yeah.
It wasn't his singles. It was his doubles match, and he won that match. It was with his doubles partner was with LeVar Harper Griffin. LeVar Harper Griffin.
I think I've heard the name.
He's still around. I don't think he plays. I think he teaches. But he won doubles with him, and it's a good game. And when I watched that match, I was like, oh my God, he's gonna be number one day, right? Yeah. Singles and doubles. Not doubles, but it's like singles.
I don't think his doubles scored.
No, not really. But he's good enough to win the juniors, right? Yeah. So I was like, wow, he's it. He's the next it person, right? Well, I liked him. I like Philippoussis.
Great game.
Yeah, Philippoussis. Big servers, right? And then my favorite overall player was Luga. I really like Luga. I even have his jacket. He's just so smooth.
Philippoussis is so underrated. Doesn't get enough credit.
My Philippoussis, Taylor Dent. Big kid, right? But I saw him at the Open 1 year, just the big serve.
That's a big serve, yeah.
So I guess I like big serves, big serve and volleyers. Those are my choices.
Oh, good choices.
Federer also. I don't know. Federer is a lover. And then currently Alcaraz. I really like Alcaraz. I really like, on the women's side, Paolini. She's really good. I saw her at Indian Wells a couple years ago. I'm very good.
We might have been at the same match. Was that the Sabalenka match?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, cheater, yeah. The same match then, okay.
I like Shikuhara, the doubles.
Anna?
Yeah, I like her backhand.
I play with her brother.
Oh, wow, okay. From here.
From Palos Verdes.
Yeah, she lives in Queenston.
Okay.
Player.
Yeah.
She plays golf now, right? Good.
Yeah.
I like kid in golf.
Oh, yeah. So it's $3, I think. Yeah. Good old Costco. It's funny.
Really, yeah. My favorite players. Yeah.
Good choices.
Yeah. Like, I really date myself when I say, like, Andy Roddick, Philippoussis.
Oh, really? It's like 2000s. Yeah. Because we're all, like, peaking in the early 2000s.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah.
So what got you into coaching?
I feel like you could probably relate to this. So, like, until you leave, play college, and then you burn out. 'Cause it's like a job. You're like, I don't want to touch a racket for a while. So then you take like you're off, and then you start missing it, and then so you start trying to play again, and then you're trying to sort of like find, I guess, like fulfillment that way. You start kind of older, then you're like, all right, like, isn't really doing it for me anymore. So then I think for me, it was just kind of like back and sort of that rewarding feeling again of like back or just passing the game on. It's funny. I never thought I'd actually be coaching because I thought I wasn't good at explaining things to people. And I also thought I was always asking for advice more than I was giving it because I Paul, I feel like I was asking him questions more than like, I have confidence in myself to be able to teach the game. And I think I got to a point where I was like, oh no, this is good. Like value your experience and want to know things, a lot of knowledge to share. And then there's just that feeling of when you actually see someone improve and you're coaching, you're like, that's a pretty good feeling. You're like, yeah, we're pumped for that. So yeah, I'd say like more like maybe like an altruistic reason of getting back into it. But yeah, been good. So. I also do it part-time, so yeah, you're doing it more than I am, so yeah.
Same. But also, it's like so opposite than from like
oh yeah,
the 9 to 5.
Yeah,
like this.
I'm being really honest. Yeah, I work a full-time job, and I really needed something just to like offset that feeling from. So
I had a nice PC answer that I knew there was
I don't know how honest we were gonna get. So I agree with you. If anything, I look forward to like lessons now because I'm like, I don't have to deal with politics, no games, pun intended. There's no games being played. Doing my corporate job, see what you get. You get outside, get some fresh air. Yeah, it's a good offset.
It's a good,
I guess probably you feel something like it grows your confidence in different ways because you're like, all right, like I'm good at this, but I'm also good at that. Yeah, you don't just feel like your identity is this one thing, right? So
a nice balance.
Yeah, my identity to be like white collar. It's like I can do different things.
It's kind of funny because I don't see accountant when I.
Oh yeah. Well, that's that.
Yeah. You don't look like an accountant, which is like.
Well, I'm finance now, but same thing. Yeah.
Finance
I don't know how I got into that. Yeah. It was. I got into it because it was. Traveling in college, and you're like, all right, what major can I have that's like. I don't miss classes, it's safe, it's easy, and like basic arithmetic. There's no labs or additional classes to take. It's pretty straightforward. Yeah. Safe job. Yeah. And I got into the workforce and I was like, this is not what I want to do. Yeah.
I got into my first accounting class and that was my last accounting class.
Yeah. The worst classes to get into. It's like boring. It's even more boring than like introductory class. So,
oh my God. No,
you're going through costs and stuff.
Like, I had a friend in high school who took one accounting class in like senior year and she's like, this is it. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. And I'm like, okay.
Oh no, it's like, I mean, bad metaphor and joke, or sorry, analogy to say, but like drinking the Kool-Aid. Like, trick you into like this, and then it's nothing like school. You get to the real world, and you're like, oh, this is not what it was like in school. Yeah. I don't think they really prepare you well enough for that. It's like, oh, this is actually your life's going to be.
Yeah. I want to find out. Like,
that's something that college should do better. College should really tell you, like, this is the major you're picking, and this is the life you're going to have. Not like, oh, this is what you're learning. And
they want to scare you.
They make it about the subject, right? It's like, no, this is what your life's going to be and the jobs you're going to get, right? Yeah.
You wouldn't have any accountants then.
I know, exactly. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. Did you do that transition then, like from accounting to part-time coaching?
I graduated. I had a master's in accounting, so I finished 2014. I did accounting for about 3 years, and then I went to finance after that.
Okay.
I've been in finance ever since, and then I didn't start coaching until last year. Do some coaching, like there I was in like summers between college, you try to help out where you can, make some money, but this is the first time I like just been like doing it. So.
How many places do you coach now?
Just
How many students do you have?
Just 2 right now.
It's Kara and
her cousin Sophie.
Oh, okay, good.
I might pick up a couple more people, but the fires and stuff has just been like any court availability. So yeah.
Are you focusing on like a certain group, or are you taking anyone?
The one that's made me the most nervous is the kids on Fridays. Yeah.
But they're like
they're actually the funnest. Like, just like around them, they're super funny. But I think I'm the most nervous in that one for a weird reason. Parents are always watching.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I'm being judged for how I'm coaching these kids, and I'm also I don't want to be the person that like decided they didn't want to be tennis, like tennis. I feel like if you're a high school player, you're in it because you're doing it, right? Like, it's not gonna be me the reason why you walk away from the game, right? Like, you're 5 years old and you're like, I'm the person that either made it fun or I was like, oh, that's a lot of pressure. So also different things to work on. Like, I think I've never been great with technique. I'm getting a lot better with technique just because I'm learning from Paul. But I think with the kids, it's all about technique.
You're talking about explaining technique?
Yeah, doing technical stuff. Okay. Yeah. Like a lot of value, I think, you can give a high school player on just like tactics. Like
Right,
things
right.
you don't have to, you can avoid the technical stuff and just give them value in tactics. And,
School's all about
yeah.
they have a technical foundation by the time they get to high school, right? So
Yeah.
what you have to do is color it with strategy.
Yeah,
right?
right. Yeah.
Do you like? Oh, I just had the question and it just kind of
Yeah, no,
disappeared.
you're good.
Yeah.
I feel like the age group between and like you said, they should be technically capable, but that's if they had good coaching, right? They went to the right coaches and they had good coaches.
That's if they started
Some people
with it.
don't have good coaches, and so then it's like you're almost kind of up for lost time and having like rings.
Yeah. Like most frustrating when they decide to start high school because there's like no time for improvement. It's more like
It depends on what their goals are, right?
Right, yeah.
I'm working with like 8th grades, just probably gotta be 13 or 14.
okay.
Elbow pain.
Already?
Really, this has probably been my best student that I've been able to fix technique stuff. We clean up a lot of technique. But yeah, it's something that like be happening at 14.
Right.
But yeah, it doesn't know who we went to and what they were telling them, right? It's also like one of my biggest frustrations with like tennis and coaches is like, I was actually one of those people, like they would just play recreationally. They didn't know anything.
Right.
And we get into this tennis, try to get into competitive tennis, and you don't know who to go to. It's all word of mouth, right? Like you're asking friends, like at tournaments, you try to make friends at tournaments. You're like, hey, who are the good coaches?
Right.
Who should I be going to get better? And you can just end up with a bad coach.
That's
and
true. Yeah.
Like coaches just teach you like game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I always thought like you'd be looking at the player individually, understand their personality, their grips, their style. Like it should be like grips or anything. Or it should just be cleaning up the technique essentially. Yeah.
The point of a private lesson.
Yeah,
It's all
like I was with people like every coach I went to, they like my forehand every single time. It was
Really?
like they didn't like the way it was set up, or like because their way of like to my parents that they were worth the money. It was like, oh, well, like teaching them this, you'll see the results, and then it's like
Yeah,
you're just
but that-
teaching their forehand because that's the only way they know how to hit a forehand.
That'd be completely different depending on the grip, right? So,
Yeah.
and that's really hard to change like midway into your career. Like,
So I met Paul and I started learning this stuff. I was like, wow, this really just blew my mind. I was like, yeah, like this is so good at like different grips, different swings.
whatever works for the
Yeah,
athlete. And like,
it's such as simple as watching the swing. It's like, all right, this doesn't look fluid. It doesn't look like, it's like, how do I make this more efficient and like you hit, right? Yeah. So, yeah.
the way to go.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't have like.
Oh,
like,
she was like underneath, almost like a horseshoe throw.
Oh dear.
I
Okay.
had to get her to like more space out, to pull the contact point back a little bit, get her to stop holding the racket so tight. It was like up,
Yeah.
the right contact.
Yeah.
A lot of med ball work, so she just gets her weight into the ball now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been good. She's been picking up really fast.
That's
so
good.
yeah.
Definitely should not have any pain at this point.
Well, yeah, every practice I'm like, your arm, are you good? Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's been good. Yeah, yeah. At that point though, like you just never know what you're getting from another coach. You're like, oh my god, it's
Scary though. Like talk to my donut person. She saw I was wearing the San Marino sweatshirt.
yeah.
She was like, "Oh, do you like teach tennis?" Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I do. And she's like, I hit my forehand, like really hurts. And I'm like, I don't think it should be hurting that much if you play like every 20 years.
Yeah.
It really hurts. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just telling you right now, you're holding it wrong.
There's also a lot of like, I see it all the time. Coaches will stand on one side of the net, and they just like cross the net.
Oh, no, I'm guilty of that.
No, we all do it. I'm just saying, like, I think the nice thing about the Santa Marino group is like I think we all try different things. Like, I think you gotta like over their tennis awareness, like show them how the arm should be, the feeling, drag the racket path with them. Like, there's ones that just don't do that. Like they just say it and then like, or they say it in a way that they're like, the person's not understanding. And then,
I heard there was a coach that didn't say anything and would just stand across the net and then just feed.
yeah.
Didn't correct anything, didn't do anything. Just coach.
Just a professional ball feeder. Yeah. Just paying for a ball machine.
That ball machine would be cheaper.
A human ball machine, yeah.
Then he ended up having like really good spot in like England or something. Like I don't know, like recruited him and he's doing pretty well. He's a director somewhere. Like he's become a director without like.
So weird.
It was weird. It was
Yeah.
very strange. But anyway, no pain when you first start out. That's a big red flag, right?
Which goes back to like the rewarding feeling of like, I understand this. And even if it's like an adult who's 40 and playing league tennis, like you can really make a difference just by like understand things at a higher level than them. And it's just like you just share that, yeah.
I'm assuming you like. I'm just guessing, but what do you like better, singles or doubles?
It's funny, better at doubles. I understand doubles better.
Yeah.
That was what I've naturally been better at. Singles, I'll just come off egotistical, but it's like, yeah, like there's more prestige in winning a singles match. And then even when you win a singles match, you feel like you earned it more for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more, sounds cliche, but yeah, losses make more sense. The wins feel better. Doubles, I feel like it's so hard to get two people playing well at the same time sometimes.
Yeah.
So you're like, playing well and lose, it just doesn't feel as good. Yeah.
Blame it on the other person.
Yeah, I think we've all been there. So,
Yeah.
I keep trying to get back into singles. I've been conditioning. It's just much easier to be like, my conditioning's at like 70%. Let me just go play doubles instead this tournament. And I'd like to eventually get back into singles.
It's so hard on the body.
It's super physical.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's so scary.
Yeah. The generation that we saw the trend and how physical it's gotten, right? Like the early 2000s to now, like that 20-year span, it's gotten so physical and athletic. Yeah.
It's all diet change, training, extra strength and conditioning.
So even the rackets too, like the technology now. It's like, I used to be able to serve and volley. I used to serve and volley in college. Like, I figured with my game style, and after I got out of college, now my game's more all court, like off the baseline a lot more.
Yeah.
Like the rackets now, even for someone like me who wasn't really good at hitting ground strokes sometimes, like I can hit the ball hard and I can like from the baseline. It's just the rackets. The technology is so much better now.
What do you use?
Huh?
The racket. What do you use?
Use a Wilson blade right now.
Oh, that's a good racket. Yeah.
What about you?
Well, I teach more than I play.
Okay.
Using the Wilson, but the French one.
That's a good one.
Yeah. It's nice. It's
They
like
just came out with a new one actually.
Oh, yeah. I have one.
Okay. Let's send you the new commercial for the new one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nice. It's like balanced, but it's like stiff, which is what I like. I don't really like the other one, the original one from I guess the US.
Yeah.
It's too much for me. I don't know how to describe it. It's just too much. Right. But I definitely like that racket with. I like that one, and I used to play with Gustavo Quentin's racket when he was the height of his game.
Yeah. Great racket. I've used that for a little bit.
I have 5 of them.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I think the average person doesn't understand is like you and I grew up in an age where the courts were fast, the rackets weren't as strong, so you were almost kind of court for the power.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now it's the opposite. I feel like the courts have slowed down, the ball's gotten slower, the rackets have gotten better.
Yeah.
It's got more physical. So now all the power is coming from like racket and the person and how strong they are. And it's almost like more of like a boxing match.
Pretty much, yeah. Good description.
Yeah.
Very good description. You came prepared today.
No, I just like talking about this stuff. Yeah, I like to nerd out on this. Yeah, you just see the body types. If you're looking at like McEnroe, like Jimmy Connors versus like Alcaraz right now, it's like body type is so different right now.
Yeah, Dash.
Yeah. It's like because we're athletic and healthy and strong, but like it's like muscle. Now these guys look like they're heavyweight boxers are going into a ring. Yeah.
Found athletes.
Yeah.
Really in shape, especially like Sakari. Sakari's like built. It's like you have to look like that to play well, but it's just like looks like she does CrossFit, right? Like the body type I'm talking about.
It's funny because I think on TV it gets a little misconceived because like he's really lean. He's definitely strong.
Yeah.
Like I think he has to get lower in the rankings. Like from like 50 in the world. You go watch some of those people play, they're all buff. Like all in really good shape. Yeah. It's just like body style I feel like doesn't get on you don't see that on TV as much because you see the super talented person who's everything's easy for them. Yeah.
Did you see the Medvedev Tien match?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it. Yeah.
Mark is very in shape.
Oh yeah. Healing for days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of Medvedev?
Wise or just personal game-wise?
Game-wise.
I was a fan of his for a bit. I'm not saying I'm not a fan anymore. I just feel like I think he's in a really weird point right now. I feel like the game, I won't say this, but like the game's kind of passing him by.
Yeah.
I think he knows that too.
Yeah.
And I think Demonar had a similar conversation when he lost at center on the press conference of that. It's really hard to get away now with just like every single ball.
Right.
Like, and there's guys that are just as consistent. They get hit harder, so it's kind of like just making 50 balls now isn't going to work anymore. Yeah, like, you got to have something behind it now, or you got to come in and put pressure, or you got to do something, create pressure in a different way. Right?
It's more layered.
Yeah.
Layered now.
I really like his game. I thought he was the best player there for a few years. Also, he lost a couple of 5-setters and majors that. He could have more major titles, but I just feel like in the last 2 years, you've seen the game kind of passing him.
Yeah, like he needs something else. He definitely needs like
a bigger serve.
Something. He should have a bigger serve, considering his height. Tall.
Yeah.
6'5", I think. Right?
Maybe this sounds cliche. Like I shouldn't say this, but yeah, he could try taking a return earlier rather than being so far back. Yeah.
I think it's harder for like a taller person to like.
He's just done that for so long. He's been so good at it, so it's hard to tell him to like move in. The serve is definitely something that he can get that bigger. Like, that's something you do right away.
I think that's something, that's definitely like the serve and volley game. You should just do that.
Mix it a little bit more. Yeah.
The height to his advantage. So I don't know why he doesn't do that. It's just.
He's not comfortable doing it.
Wow, that's weird. It's just so strange. It's like, I was that tall, I just do that all day long.
Yeah.
I'm tall like that all day long.
Yeah.
Stay at the baseline kicking.
Yeah.
My game. That's always been my game. And it's great because now it's the, it's the game.
Or he could kind of do what Federer did, where he could It uses that Technofiber, which is heavy, so like you could lower the weight on the racket, get more racket hit speed, maybe get a bigger head size, start getting more power. You could do that too.
I would string my rackets at 30 pounds.
Oh, trust me, I used to be like 90-inch head size, which is absurd now. I used to string my rackets at like 60s.
Mine too, yeah.
The only thing went through was like transition into the polyester age of string.
Yeah. Now it's cool.
So only people realize, like we grew up on like high tension, and when you string it, now it's like the polyester string, and you string it low. So that took me years to figure out. Paul actually pushed me over into it, and I was like, wow. It went to like a 98 square head size, which took me forever. I was so stubborn, I didn't want to do it, and then I did it. I was like, why didn't I do this sooner? I was like,
It's an ego thing. Like,
it is an ego thing, Like, I want to get old and have to get to a bigger head size, but then you realize how much power you can get. I'm like, oh, I should have done this sooner. I was like,
Don't go to the TI hammer like that. The racquetball head.
Like a weed whacker.
But who knows? Maybe that'll be my next racket. Started stringing my racket to be stronger, and I was like, can you string at 40? And then Paul's like, because I think before that I was like, oh, can you string it at 60? And all of a sudden I changed for 45, and he's like, he has opinions. He has his thoughts.
He knows a lot, though.
Yeah.
A big, like a bulb of knowledge. Amazing.
He is like a savant with rackets.
Oh yeah.
Like unbelievable. Like you ask him anything about like specific racket, and he can just tell you the whole history on that racket. He had a whole based on my the head prestige, which I absolutely do not know anything about rackets. Just that play with it, and I want to play I bought that racket, but I don't know. He was hating this whole thing and a whole monologue about it. Great.
He's so good at looking for something in their game or there's something wrong, and he I can figure out real quick oh, you need this type of racket because it's like a thin beam racket versus it's very interesting.
I just give everyone Clash because it's such a good overall racket.
I think he's using the Clash right now.
Yeah, it's a good racket for people that I teach at least. They end up liking it, so I'm like, okay, it's not too heavy, not too light. It's just a good and it looks fancy. Just my students all fancy.
Got that nice red. Yeah. That's one of those? Sure. Yeah. You can have shrimp, right? Yeah.
It's an iron gun, so it's fine.
Yeah.
You like teaching or hitting better?
That's a really good question. I've never been asked that before.
Here's a more specific. You like hitting or do you like playing games better? Like matches?
Oh, I like playing matches.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I think my biggest ick right now is dingles. It's gotten so popular.
Yeah.
I feel like it's halfway between pickleball and tennis right now. Fully grown men
Dingles.
starting group chats and inviting me to dingles practices, and I'm like, I think there's a certain benefit to it, understand doubles, coordination, positioning. You both are trying to get in. Ensure the shot selection. That's your entire practice regimen. I don't think you're going to win a lot of matches doing that. And I tell this to guys that I play with. You should be working on serving and returning. The two most important shots, and that starts the point.
He doesn't know what dingles is. Can you explain what dingles?
I'll explain dingles to you.
I just didn't know that it would be something obvious.
So dingles is there's 4 people in a court. You feed in, so there's 2 cross-court points going. Whoever loses the first cross-court point, it turns into a full-court doubles point. So you can only stay cross-court up until whoever loses the first one. And then once the first pair loses, then you open up the court to a full doubles point. And then if you win both points, you get 1 point. So it just turns into chaos. People love it because it's feel these little crafty shots. But
do your people yell out dingles? My kids do. Do they yell out dingles?
Yeah. They're supposed to yell out dingles. When you're when the first tennis point you yell out dingles, that's when it turns into a full court point, right? That point about your question, I like matches because serve's my best shot. I like serving. Still play tournaments, so almost I would rather get the serve return practice in. Yeah.
I like hitting better. I just like the sensation of the ball.
Yeah.
Hitting, keeping track of any scores.
Everyone's different. Yeah.
I want to lose.
Yeah.
Just like hitting.
Yeah. And it gets back to your other question about your teaching. I would say I do like teaching, but I enjoy hitting in the sense that it's a situational match scenario. So it's kind of I teach. So Kara, one of my students, she's really good. She's technically sound. I don't really have to do much technical stuff with her. So we're just specifically working on in situational stuff, and I'm always relating it back to play and stuff. That's the stuff that I enjoy. Where I'm all right, this scenario on the court, this is the type of shot you're supposed to hit. This is how you should be trying to break it down. This is how you're probably feeling during the match. That's the stuff that I really enjoy. Another student, we're working on technique with her, so like honestly, I've gotten better with technique, so I'm starting to enjoy that aspect more. But before I used to hate the technique part. I don't want to sit here and fix this and then mess up your stroke even more, and then it's my fault. And then, so yeah.
Really good. What I like is that when you teach them, you teach something to yourself too.
Totally, yeah.
So you can like getting a lesson on like the clarification of like that stroke or that. You know.
Like imperfect feeder. So like trust me, like I can feed great for like minutes, and then I start feeding bad for like a minute. Yeah, like I still have the feel down yet. Yeah, it's like the other thing too is like your feeds are too hard, and it's like oh my god, it's like
that's funny.
That's like at least if it's like a point setting hitting, it's like the feed doesn't matter because you need to get comfortable with just like ball being in different spots. So it's just like
It's like anywhere.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna get the
stroke production. You need to feed the ball in those certain spots. They kind of get the repetition. Yeah.
It's okay. It sounds like part of like the lesson.
Yeah.
Like opponent's not gonna hit like you every time, right? So
I'm actually better at feeding in a private because I'm like one person, it's not as pressure. Yeah. One of my group clinics that's always complaining about my feeds.
You're the ones with the problem, right?
Yeah. I like an easy feed and they like rip a winner and I'm like, well that's why I need to like the feed tougher because you're hitting a winner. Like we shouldn't start the point that way. Yeah.
You're talking about your Saturday?
My Friday night ones.
Is it
adults?
Is it all men? Or
No, it's co-ed.
Nice.
Ranges from like 45, there's like a pretty big gap. Now I say it's more like pro. It's like even, yeah. People that are hitting like too hard for other people, and it's getting better though. Yeah.
I try to edit this out, but people at San Marino, they like to treat it as a grand slam every single time, like playing like clinic or any.
That's their Wimbledon.
Yeah, their Wimbledon. That's their Open. That's the like. If they win, like the tournaments, they just treat it like as if it's like Australian. Okay.
One of the nice things about tennis is like the entry to barrier is tough because you need technique, you need like lessons to even just hold a rally. Yeah. But there are like levels, different tournaments. Yeah. There's so many like things. Yeah. Like you can find success somewhere.
You can find something.
Yeah.
You find something.
You can win a trophy somewhere. Like that's one thing I do like to tell people. You can be successful. Yeah. It's not like you have to go play at the center court Wimbledon one day. Like it's just.
It's a lot of opportunity, but it's also a lot of money.
Yeah.
You can start at any age, right? And you can be better. Start at 40 and be good at. You can play in the seniors. You start at 50, right?
Yeah. I'm actually playing age group this weekend. This is my first age group tournament. So see how it is. Yeah.
Age group?
Men's 30s doubles, and then I'm playing mixed 35s.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah. Age group. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Do you have do you have like an ultimate goal with like your tournament play? I were like lucky loser at the U.S. Open. Like
wanted to be a lucky loser?
Yeah.
U.S. Open?
Yeah.
When I was in college, I had those aspirations of like, I'm a pro.
You don't have to be pro to like because they have like quality.
Yeah.
And like you win that.
Yeah, I grew up in NorCal, so like they had a San Jose, the SAP Open. So I put the pre-qualies for that, and then I put a lot of the wild cards for the futures in SoCal. Also, when I was in college, those were suitable. Now I feel like I don't need to be playing that. I just play open tournaments, which is like, still with prize money, competitive. I feel like I'm getting better. I think for me, it's like, I'm playing better now than I was in college, actually, because I'm just like calmer, wiser. My technique's a lot better now than it was in college. So my goals for myself is just like, all right, let's just see how far I can go. But it's 34, so it's like going pro. So a lot of it's just like, let's just see how well I can do with what I have and keep improving and going. So I had to quit my day job and go travel the world. Yeah, so I feel like people don't understand, like, there's making money. Like, it's the things when I got out of college, was like, I could have, like, tried it, done it, but like, I haven't been paying my way. So it's just like, since I've been doing it, I would have been like, probably lessons and then maybe go try and play at an open, but then still need coaching because I wasn't like fully developed. So then it just was like, college is like they're paying for it. Like, you're getting paid to be there and train, and someone's coaching you for free, right? It's kind of nice about college tennis, but once you're out of college, you're like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's like, you don't pay for rent.
Friends that like, they popped in, they like, someone was like helping them out a ton, and it's tough. So it's just,
like a lot of talent, a lot of money.
It's a big misconception because the people don't know. They just watch TV, they see these people making money, they don't know.
It's like a nice, I don't know. People think like it's that the people play, and then it's just easy. And I'm like, do you know how much? It's like when you like actually.
Oh yeah, I didn't know the levels either. It's like I understand the futures, challenger, like tour stuff. Till like I got into college, I was like, this is even wild.
It's insane, yeah.
Because the futures are crazy. Because that's like a level of tennis. You can go watch that. It's like watching the TV level tennis, and you don't have to pay anything. Yeah. They're not making any money, and I feel like the clubs that host it are just doing it to bring more attention to their club. So this is very interesting. Yeah.
In a club, I do that. Like all those types of. That's a large gap of like knowledge. Like I think people don't know what it takes just to even get to like college tennis, right? And then college tennis with those too. It's just a lot of work.
It's a lot of time you have to invest.
Yeah. Work every day, a lot of grinding, right? So
it's funny you say that because like my dad, when we were going through the early tournament stages of like my career, I was like 12 or 13. Maybe my dad was smarter and knew what he was doing, but he would always ask the question to other parents like, how much is your kid playing tennis? And if they said like every day or like 5 a week, then my dad would come back to me and be like, yeah, they're playing like 5 a week. So it was kind of like if you want to get better, you got to play more days a week. Or you get more time on the court, right? And then it became like, are you hitting once a day, twice a day? It's like
8 hours. Are you doing anything else? How are you eating?
Yeah.
Like with that, it's just I don't know. It's just.
So I was lucky enough. My parents let me go to IMG for like 1 week. I was like 14, because that was like when it was so popular, right? It was like Cerritos came out of there, G. Corey was coming out. Like, IMG amazing, full of Terry's, right? So I went for a week, and like that was the first time I had hit like 2 long sessions in one day, and I was like, oh my god, this is what people do. Like,
all day long, right?
I mean, excitement. I was kind of, I was like, wow, a lot. So yeah, but that's how people get good so fast. It's like
that's all you
time
do.
forward, right? Yeah.
All day long. It's like
what's the quote? It's like how many hours of mastership, and then it's like
you don't have like that focus and that drive to actually go like that level, because it's just I don't know. I think it's just like you have to have like very like in order for you to go ahead, like go for that
you gotta
goal.
enjoy the work.
You gotta enjoy it too.
Like
because like almost like to tell yourself you're not good enough every day. That's what's driving them. You know, it's like good enough, and you just sit there. I did like 10 backhands today. I'm good. You know, I cut it right. So,
there are a lot of like self-tennis players, but I feel like in a weird way, it's a way of motivating themselves.
It is, it works.
If someone keeps telling them like you're not good enough, and they're like they want to prove the person wrong,
It's like a huge chip on their shoulder.
Exactly.
It works. It's not healthy, but it works.
Those are not healthy.
It's like you must have like therapy in 30 years, but hey, you want to try
True that. Yeah.
on something, you know? Yeah. What else? Oh, do you have a favorite service?
Ooh. So I played on hard court my entire life. I have been clay, and I had the privilege to play on grass once. So answers might be biased based on the sample size, but the time I played on grass, I thought it was amazing.
Okay.
Just like as a serve volleyer growing up, and get to the net, like you volley and it just like it's like automatically a winner, and I'm like, wow, this is what it feels like to play aluminum. Yeah. And like novelty, right? Like you're walking around on it, like it's soft. You're like, oh, this is what it feels like to go on grass. Yeah. Enjoy clay, but I'm not good on it. Like it's like
I hate clay.
I don't know how to slide. But it's just nice because you don't get to prana that often, so it's just a novelty feeling. But
my home courts in high school were clay.
Oh, really?
But it wasn't like the orange clay, it was sand clay, like the sand.
Oh, so I've seen those on Instagram and like the videos,
It's not my favorite. It's like doing ice capades and back and forth. I hated it. It's just like you get all sandy after it. It's just, I like hardcore.
Yeah.
But it was kind of weird that we had like only courts I don't know why we had that.
I get annoyed now with like in a court. Because like we talked earlier, like they've gotten better, so they've slowed a lot of the courts down. So like a lot of the facilities have slower courts, but then these relics from the past 20 years that don't get resurfaced, they're like so fast. Yeah. So it's just like me and my friends, like when we go practice, we can see how fast the court is, and we're like, oh my god, this is way too fast. And then you're like trying to practice for a tournament, you're like, the court's not gonna be this fast. I need to like go sports and go play somewhere else. Yeah, it's just
like
that part I don't like about hard courts, like how it can be sometimes. But
my answer too.
Yeah, if I had to pick, I would say grass, hard clay, but I do like playing on the clay just because I never get to hit on it. So I want to play a match on it though.
No, it's a violation every time.
I love that you just use it for like training and go play on a match. On court.
Strange. What's your least favorite thing about teaching? Coaching, playing, matches.
My least favorite thing about teaching, I think, is when someone's not enjoying it and it can be for like the reasons, right? Like my kids' clinic, if they're not enjoying it, it's just because either they're being bratty or it's their attention's not there. Like then it starts feeling like babysitting, like that I don't enjoy.
How many kids do you have now?
At the most I had 8, and then on average it's usually like 3, 5. Yeah.
Okay, 5 is okay.
Yeah.
8 is a bit much.
I don't like. I'm always asking Paul questions. It's like I come up with something new, right? Like how do I keep them engaged?
Yeah.
That part I don't like doing. Yeah.
Right.
I think when you get to older kids, they're already engaged. They want to be there. They're trying to get better. Like you don't have to deal with so much babysitting or games and trying to keep things new and fresh. Yeah. So I think that part I don't enjoy.
Okay. I taught the Red Ball Clinic too.
Yeah.
So.
It happens with like adults. Like sometimes my school kids, it's like having a bad practice.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily me. It's just like, hey, we're working on something that you're not good at, and we need to spend time with you being uncomfortable doing this. And so, like, it's be not fun for about 10 minutes, but you need to, like, kind of and get better. And sometimes I can, like, de-practice because they don't understand what they're working on, and they're just upset and they want to feel good when they're practicing.
Sure.
Like, yeah, but that's how you're going to get better, right? So I'd say that dynamic I don't like either because it's like, yeah, it's great when you, like, something right away, the light bulb goes off, and then they're like, wow, it's so great. I'm so happy to, like, you're here. And then there's the times where they're like, I really didn't like practice there. It's like, well, we were working on something you didn't want to work on, but of course you're going to be bad at it for the first time you try it. Like,
That's true. Ball coaches.
Yeah.
No. Why did you start your podcast and why did you stop?
Honestly, not the same reason why like I'm here with you talking about it. Like I talking about tennis. Like I think, like I said, there's a lot of knowledge to share that people don't know. And like I was in that position where I didn't come from a tennis background. Like obviously my mom, but like she wasn't like a player at all. So you're just looking for resources, right? And so with media now, obviously there's good resources and knowledge out there now, but a lot of it's like it's diluted and it's truth and who knows what they're talking about, right? So it's almost like an over of now. So the reason why I wanted to do the podcast was like I was like, all right, I want to be able to talk about sort of like a translator. It's like what's going on at a high level of tennis. And let me put this in like normal person like words. So that's kind of how I coach too. I try to explain things to people where it's like, all right, this is at a high level. This is how I explain it to you. And if it makes sense to you, then you're gonna understand it. And you're like, oh wow, like, I didn't think of it that way, right? Which is kind of why like I and Andy Roddick's podcast. It's like this insight, you get this little detail that like you don't really get or understand. And then when he says it in a way, you're like, oh wow, I didn't think of it that way. Like that's the stuff that I enjoy. So when I did the podcast, that was the goal. It was like, let's let tennis, let's explain it in a way that people can understand, make people more interested and engaged. That was ultimately the goal.
You got 17 out of it, so that's pretty good. That's a good run.
That's the thing about podcasts is like you have to build consistency, right? And you have to keep people engaged. So like the goal is, let's do this weekly or maybe bi-weekly, 30 minutes, keep it short. Let's put in for a car ride. You kind of, I think there's so much content out there now. You kind of have to figure out what you're going to be and what you're going to do. I regret not just like being more. I think I was trying to be too analytical about it. And then you listen to like the same podcast and they're just joking around like half time. And I'm like, sometimes people just want to hear how funny it is and then maybe get like 10 minutes of like tennis content. So it's just like, but then there's like the end of the spectrum, which is like when you're just being too funny, they're not actually getting anything out of it. It just turns into like casual talk. It's just like, So.
You have to strike that nice balance between.
And then,
people's attention spans are not always there. Sometimes you ease into it.
So how many people can you connect with and keep listening to your podcast, right? So that's the other thing too, is like marketing. That's a lot of effort. So
You gonna start another podcast soon?
I will too. I love just finding the right partner to do it with and resourcing stuff and scheduling time out for it. So I would definitely do it again.
Sounds good.
So
same vibe. Would it be the same vibe?
I think there are things I take away from it that I want to keep, and there's be stuff I would change. For sure.
Fair enough. Then I think I covered all the tennis questions. These are bonus questions. You don't have to answer. Favorite food? Favorite restaurant?
We're in it right now. Favorite food? Dim sum. We're eating it now. It's the last, like, what was your last meal? And I always say dim sum.
Dim sum, So you prefer savory?
Yes. I do have a sweet tooth, but I'm trying to cut sweets.
Yes.
Last would be a savory meal, not a dessert.
Okay.
Would be a boba.
I'm sorry?
My sweet would be a boba tea.
What's your favorite?
7 Leaves. Jasmine milk tea. Easy ice, easy sweet.
Okay. You have last meal ready.
That would be it. It'd be dim sum, jasmine milk tea, right there. That'd be it. I'm good. Awesome. Maybe a box of Pocky on the side.
All right. All my questions.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Continue.
Hang out.
Yeah.